Hello chess fans and happy holidays. I am FIDE Master Ingvar Jóhannesson from Iceland, and yeah, we have exciting days coming up. This is the first day of the World Rapid Championships, the King Salman World Chess Championships, Rapid and Blitz. They're being held in St. Petersburg in Russia. Last year they were held in Saudi Arabia, with some controversy because well, not every nation in the world was able to participate because of visa problems. But now they moved it to St. Petersburg. Good job by the new FIDE president Arkady Dvorkovich. And yeah, all eyes are on Magnus Carlsen. He recently retained his classical world championship, beating Caruana, imposing his will, if you will, in the rapid tiebreaks. And he said that he wants to get all 3 crowns again. He managed to do it before, but last year Anand won the Rapid World Championship. So Magnus has something to prove, and we're going to look at his first round game against Adam Tukhaev from Russia, a 30-year-old grandmaster, rated 2550 in Rapid. And we see e4, and now we start to see some of the work put into the World Championship, because we have the Sicilian and we have the Sveshnikov. That's e3 and e5. This is the Sveshnikov. And unlike in the World Championship, where, well, first of all we saw a lot of Rosolimo, which is bishop b5 on the third move. If we go back, we saw a lot of these, and we also saw knight d to b5 by Caruana. After this move, he was playing knight d5. Sorry, not knight d to b, knight d5. Yes, but in this game we see bishop to g5, the main line. So many people were curious to see what Carlsen had in store there, and it seems like he was well prepared. We go for the main line, a6, kicking the knight, b5, threatening to fork the knight, so knight d5. Utilizing the pin, and as usual, well, black is not threatening to take on d5, winning a piece, so white has to resolve that situation by taking on f6. So black gets the bishop pair, very dynamic, but in return he has a backward pawn here on d6, and white has the nice d5 outpost. So it's a battle of imbalances. Now, Tukhaev played c3 here. When the Sveshnikov was more popular at the higher levels, I think white was gravitating more towards c4, I believe. Well, like b4 and knight c2 was most likely to happen, white having this nice grip on the d5 square. But in this game, white went with c3. Carlsen castled, bishop e2, and now bishop g5. So putting the bishop on a better diagonal and also freeing the way for the f-pawn to move. The knight has more or less finished its job on a3, so it comes back to c2. Knight back to e7, challenging this knight, and we have a trade. So for now, white doesn't have the control of d5 that he wants. He can, in some cases, just swing the knight through b4. Probably doesn't want to go to e3 at the moment because black can just chop it off. So castles, bishop b7, and queen d3. And now, before white is ready to, well, the pawn was attacked, otherwise he would have played knight b4. But now he wants to play knight b4 and knight d5. So before he gets time to do that, to get the blockade on the d5 square, which would, you know, give white a solid position, black plays d5 to free his position. So okay, this pawn can't be captured, but after rook a to d8, it turns out white has problems holding on to this pawn. Tukhaev went with c4, Carlsen took, and now queen a3. If you take the pawn, black just retakes on d5, well, probably with, it doesn't really matter, probably with a bishop or a rook. And he has the bishop pair and an open position, and no more weaknesses. He might lose the pawn on a6, but he always gets compensation for that. So queen a3 was played. Well, black can take, but why? He just keeps the queens on. Queen c7, protecting the pawn. And now he's ready to capture this pawn. That happened after rook d1. Takes. And queen takes a6. So a very good position for the world champion. The classical world champion. Rishi Anand, of course, is the rapid world champion. He has the bishop pair, and the position has opened up, and he has gotten rid of the d6 weakness. So a clear advantage for black. Queen b4. Also this pawn, it's clamping down a little bit on these pawns and making it more difficult for them to move. Here Carlsen played rook a to b8, but rook fb8 looks like a very logical move, followed by something like bishop f6, and the pressure on these pawns seems to be very dangerous. This might be coming in, incoming attack on b2, but Carlsen went with the other rook, rook a to b8, and a very similar line, bishop to f6, rook a to b1, and now e4. So yeah, this looks like it's going according to plan for Carlsen. Queen a7, queen to e3. Bishop takes d4. Carlsen decides to cash in. He's giving up the bishop pair, but of course he's not doing that cheaply. He's going to take a pawn on a2. So now Carlsen is up a pawn. White can regain the pawn on c4, but he has to give up the pawn on b2. This is what happens. And we have more simplification. Rook takes f2 and queen takes e4. So what we're left with is 3 against 2 on the king side. So yes, it's a pawn. Black is up a pawn, but 3 against 2, it's very difficult. But the more heavy pieces you have, the more chances you have to win. If you simplify this down to just 1 rook a piece, it's going to be really difficult to win. But let's see. So now Carlsen just has to keep the pieces on, which he does, and slowly creep forward with the pawns. So this is what happens in the next couple of moves. Queen c4, g6, starting to creep forward. Rook c3, queen d8, queen e7. So this is a rapid game. So you know, the time is taken down. So just trying to find solid moves. f6, again creeping forward. Rook c4. Okay, threatening to play rook c7 to win the queen. So rook f7, stopping that. Rook c6, rook e2, queen d4, and h5. Again, you know, every fourth or fifth move, Carlsen is creeping forward. In between, looks like he's just, you know, tidying up, playing some solid moves. Queen d4 check. Queen to e4. Again, not much happening in the next few moves, so we're not gonna really, you know, dissect them. Rook e5. So Carlsen tries to keep control of the e-file. And now, like I said, yeah, creeping forward a little bit, h4, and now g5. So see, slowly but surely, he's coming forward, but eventually he has to try to find a plan. But he doesn't rush forward with his pawns immediately. You know, he's kind of, you know, just making solid moves and, you know, gaining time on the clock to think about how he's going to break through in the end. So no rush. That's the lesson here. Rook d4, okay, a cheap trick. You want to take on g5, utilizing the pin. Of course, the world champion is aware of that. Yeah, a counter trap, if you will. If you take now, king h6, you have to move your queen, then a take. Of course, mostly there in the end. Queen takes f6. So queen moves, now king h6. Otherwise, rook takes g5. Rook f5. And now, an important moment. White gives up the 2 rooks. And Carlsen happily accepts. Now good move, g4, clearing the first rank and also making it difficult for black to hold on to the rook. The king has to hold on to the rook. And if you take, you're moving closer to a draw. So Carlsen plays king e5. But now it actually should be more or less a perpetual. King e3, queen c5, rook d4. And from here, white should be able to just give checks, king e5. And he should play queen c5 here. If rook d5, queen e3, king d6, queen check. If you go to e5, I go back to e3. If you go to the 7th, I give a check. You go to the back rank, I give a check, and you have to be careful with your rook. So this should be a draw. But after queen f5, this allows Carlsen to organize his forces after king g2, rook d5, queen g6, and king e6. Here, another chance for white. He could have played queen e4, but after king to h3, black all of a sudden has great chances again. And Carlsen, yeah, he was thinking about it, and in the end, he forgot about time, and he flagged. I want to have a quick look at that moment. Olympia Urkan on his Twitter page managed to capture it. So this is the moment. Carlsen thinks about it too. 1, and he's too late to make the move. Rook to d7, and he simply flags. Unbelievable. If he plays the move, rook to d7, he still has some chances. He's out of the woods with the perpetual checks, and you know, he might make something happen with the rooks. Most likely this is with perfect play, it's probably a draw, but excellent chances for black. But you know, the only explanation for Carlsen flagging is that he forgot about time, because white isn't threatening anything. I mean, you can play rook e5, this rook. There's no like immediate threat. You're not losing anything. So the fact that Carlsen flagged there is pretty unbelievable. But this sort of continues a trend. Of Carlsen, you're not doing too great in round 1 of the World Rapid Championship. As you can see here, his last win was in 2014 against Georgiev. Incidentally, I have that game on my channel, I think. I'll link to it if I find it. I covered some games from this 2014 tournament. Then in 2015 and 16, he drew against Yamagami and Ganguly. And yeah, last year he lost against Zhang Zibu, which I think I have as well on my channel. And now, 2018, he lost against Tukhaev. So a big upset in the first round, and this will make it that much more difficult for Carlsen to, yeah, win the World Rapid Championship. But plenty of rounds to go. It's 15 rounds, so yeah, let's keep going.